Welcome to day 86 of the 100 Days Python Programming Challenge. My name is Fumi from Beth Media, and our topic today is how to use static files in Flask. Today, I'm going to show you how you can work with static files like your CSS, your JavaScript, and images to style and to enhance your Flask application. Let me know what you think of our Flask tutorial so far. And again, it is day 86 of the 100 Days Python Programming Challenge. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Today is going to be so exciting. I know I say that all the time, but today I will show you how you can use static files in your Flask. Today we will explore static files. What are static files? These are your CSS, your JavaScript, your images, your fonts that do not change dynamically. And they are essential when you're styling or you're trying to enhance your web application. So the goal for today is that you'll understand what static files are. You'll learn how Flask handles this static file and how to organize and use static files in your project and how to link CSS, JavaScript, and images in your template. Yeah, I said it's a lot. So static file, resources in your application that remains the same for all users. CSS files. CSS files are what you use to define your styles and layouts for your web pages. JavaScript files add interactivity and dynamic behavior to your web pages. Images add visual elements like logos, background images, and so on. I have an image file. This is the Beth Media logo. So I have an image file that we would be using in our application. So now let's set up our static folder. So I have a folder that is called static file. And in that folder, first I would have my app.py file. And then I want to have a folder for my templates. I told you that the way you arrange your folder depends on you. I'm just showing you the way I would do mine, and I guess the way most people would do theirs. So I have my template folder. And in my template folder, I would have my index.html. And then I would have a static folder. But I want the static folder to be outside. So in my static folder, I will then have like a CSS folder. This is where I'll put all my CSS code. And then I would have a JS folder. This is where I'll put the JS code. Did I spell that correctly? Let's rename. This is my JS folder. And then I can also have an image folder. So images. I can bring the logo image into the image folder. So you can see what we have. My folder, I have first a static folder. In that folder, I have a folder for my CSS code. I have a folder for my images. I have a folder for my JS. I have a template folder. This is where I have my index.html. And then I have my app.py. So you might be wondering that how do we link? I'll just show you examples of code and then we'll go into building the real application. So I'll just touch on some basics. So if you want to link, for example, your CSS file in your template, in your static file dynamically, this is kind of like what you use. This ensures that the file Flask finds the file correctly, even if the app is deployed in a subdirectory or if it uses a dynamic URL. So you can see it's in the static folder. We have it there, and then we have the file name. It is the CSS, and then we would have a file. I've not yet created the file. We have the style.css. So let me have the file.css here. And then our JS would have the script.js. Again, you can name it whatever you want. So this is how it is so easy for our application file Flask to find the file correctly. It checks for the static folder and checks for the file name in the static folder. It is in the CSS folder, and this is our file name. It's same thing with JS. We have script.js. If we are going to link it in our HTML code, it's also the same way. So we have the URL for static. There are different ways to do that. I've seen people link it in different ways, but this is what I kind of like to use. Let me know your other methods if you've tried it in the comment section. And this is the file name js.script.js. And then you can also add URLs for image. It's exactly so this is script because it's our JS script, and this is image because it is our image. And then we have the ALT, which is our Flask logo. So let's start creating our static files. Don't worry, I'll show you this when we have our index.html. So then I'll just have some basic styles. I'll have like the body and h1 and then the container, and we'll just have like background color, margin top, width, text align, and so on and so forth. If you're new to CSS, I'm thinking of making like a whole series where we'll talk about HTML and CSS, like break it down into parts. If that's something you would watch, you can also let me know and I would get to work. So these are simple basic styles that we want on our application. So this is the body, the H1, and the container. We're just adding color, text align, width, and so on and so forth. And then for our JavaScript, I just want to add an alert that shows like welcome to day 5 of Flask or whatever the day is. Let's just make it welcome to Flask. And then let me now show you how we would update this in our template. You see, we have an image file, we have a CSS file, and we have a JavaScript file. So let's add all that into our index.html. We start with the doc type and the head of our HTML. So this is the title, our static files in Flask, and we have the link to the CSS on top. So you see we have the URL to the static, that is our folder, and then we have our file name css/style.css. And now to the body. And the body of my web application, I want to put the image and I want to put the link to the JavaScript. So the links that I showed you earlier, this is where we would use them. So I want my image to be in the body and also the link to my JavaScript file. So this is my body and it's just a title that's welcome to day 5 static files and Flask, and this is the container. Remember, container, that is what we had in our style.css, the width of our container, the margin, and we want to align the text to the center. And this is our image. Our image is the logo that I showed at the beginning and linked to the JavaScript, which is the script.js we have here. So this is how we're able to use the static files in our HTML code. So now we have to run the application. Run the application from our app.py. We have to we're rendering templates. What template are we rendering? We're rendering the index.html template, and it should just take effect when we eventually run it. So from Flask, like we've talked earlier in previous days, we're importing Flask and render template, and then we have our decorator, the app.route, and then the home, and then we're rendering this template. So let's run this. Python app.py, and here we have the link. So you see we have our alert, which was what we set in the script.js. So you see welcome to Flask. That is what we have here. This is our alert that shows us the welcome to Flask. And then the other things, if I click OK, you can see welcome to day 5 of the static files in Flask. That's what we have in our index.html. The 5 static files in Flask. And then we have our image that we're able to import we're able to get from our image file in our image folder. And you see the styles, you see that the image is in the center, you see the text that's in the center. That's what we're able to get from our style.css. This can go on and on because you might want to break down your CSS code based on you can have general CSS code that applies to all your pages. That would be in a particular file, and you can have HTML code that applies to all your pages. For example, if you want like the header and the footer of your page to be the same across all your pages, those can be in a designated file. And then you then import it into your individual files, places where you want them to appear. And I'll discuss about that on the template inheritance video. But today is just to show you how you can use static files in your web application, static files in Flask, and I hope you're able to learn from it. So what we've talked about today is static files, CSS, JavaScript, and images, how to store the static files in the static folder. This is our folder, and how to link them dynamically using the URL for, and how to properly organize your static files for scalability. And that's it for today. Do not forget to check tomorrow where we'll continue on Flask. Let me know if you have questions on Flask. I'm still like putting the videos together, so I might just answer your question in one of the next videos. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching the tutorial. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment if you have any questions. The link to the code is in the description to my GitHub. Download it, try it out, and let me know if you have any question. See you tomorrow.